Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank everyone for being here today on behalf of my son, Christion. First of all, I would like to give thanks to TSU. Another big thanks to the Vandy Nation. Everyone has surrounded my family with love, support, and prayers, and we are so grateful for that. Although this may seem like it's a very tough time for our family, we do still stand very strong and believing that Christion will make a full recovery. As the days come, we will need all of you to continue with your prayers. Surround us with your love. And believe me, we are feeling the love here. We are away from our home in Atlanta. However, we're comfortable here in Nashville. We're comfortable here in Nashville because we know that our son is getting the best care. Who would have thought that we would be in Nashville at a game, a couple of blocks away? Here is the hospital, a neurosurgeon or neurologist on the sideline. Because of that, we are thankful. We are thankful because we know that Christion has a very, very strong faith in God. Christion is fighting, so therefore, as a family, we're fighting. We're supporting him. We're standing strong in our faith. We're not wavering. We're trusting God, and we're trusting God for a miracle. Christion was born on July 4th, 1998. I had him at 28 weeks. He came early. He fought, and he fought. He was in the hospital for 5 weeks. He was on a ventilator. He fought, and he fought. And we see him today. He's still fighting. And because we know that he's fighting, we're fighting. So again, please continue to pray for our son. Be here for us. We welcome it. Continue to pray for Christion Abercrombie.
What's his state? How's he doing? When's the last time you saw him?
I saw Christion about an hour ago. I haven't left his bedside or left the hospital since we arrived here on Saturday. I did leave to go to the hotel to come back. And he's still fighting. Each day we know it's something different, but we still believe in God. Even as the doctors are giving us their prognosis, we receive it. We're trusting them, and we're praying for the doctors. So we know that each day is a battle. But Christion, he's a strong young man, and he's fighting, and we see his fight. We can't be selfish and want it all so quickly. It's a process. And our family, we're patient in this process. Christion is patient, and we ask that you all be patient and continue to pray during this process.
We heard last night that there have been some positive signs. What are some of those signs that you've seen that have encouraged you?
Well, some of those positive signs are some of the same signs that we saw early Sunday. With the commands that his medical team are, requesting him to do, we're seeing some movement. However, it's nothing that, you jump up and down, but we're still grateful for those baby steps. Everything's not going to happen the first day, the second day, the third day. We're here, and we're not rushing it. We're trusting it, we're patient, and each day, we're getting a different report each day. We're expecting it, but we're also expecting a miracle.
Can you just describe what went through your head when you saw him on the field? I mean, when you walked off and then he collapsed. Can you tell me what goes through a mom's head at that point?
Well, what went through this mom's head it was so peaceful, and that's how our God is. He makes everything peaceful. Everything was peaceful. We were sitting in the stands. We never missed a game. We barely missed any practices at high school. But what was so special about that day, we didn't see anything. My phone was blowing up, asking me, is Christion okay? We see there saying, pray for Christion. For some odd reason, my husband and I, my sister was there, my brother-in-law, we did not see anything. What we saw was his friend at the end of the half, TK, waving, looking. So we were like, who is he looking for? He was trying to get our attention. At no point we knew anything. Our phones were ringing. We were trying to get out of the stands once his roommate asked us to come down, but it was done so peacefully and gracefully, and that's just how our God is. So we didn't see anything. We knew nothing. And when we got on the field, everyone surrounded us and escorted us, but it was done so gracefully and peacefully, so we didn't see anything. We didn't see anything that was traumatic, nothing out of the ordinary. We saw a good first two halves of a game. That's what we saw. And we saw Christion playing hard like he's always played hard. He's been playing hard since the age of 5. So nothing was out of the ordinary. Before the game started, he went to the end zone and prayed. I reached my hand over, I prayed. I saw him bouncing to the music. I saw him excited. He was glad to be there playing Vandy against one of his former teammates, number 5, Christion Vaughn. So he was excited to see him. They haven't seen each other since Illinois, University of Illinois. So he was just really in his zone. I saw him bobbing his head, waving his hand. You know, when he make the big plays, he was celebrating. So he was just really happy. At one point, you know, people are sending me pictures and I saw him holding his head, but that's nothing odd. He was playing football. He's a linebacker. He tackles. So that's nothing odd. But there was nothing that, you know, shook us in that game.
And then, you know, hours later, when you saw him for the first time in the hospital, or when it set in for you that like something is very, very wrong.
Even when it set in and the doctors told us that your son is very, very sick, we were still praying. I cried, but I'm emotional, you know. I cried, but I was still praying, and I'm just still strong in my faith, and I know that even though he's very, very, very sick and he's in critical condition, our God will deliver him.
Have you been inspired? It's early, but look at a story like Ryan Shazier of the Steelers. He's coming along. Does that give you hope? Other situations, do they factor into how you feel?
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate him reaching out through social media on Twitter, and I did follow his story, and I'm following others, you know, so people are reaching out daily. People are calling the hospital, leaving messages for us, emailing Coach Reid, you know, success stories, and everyone doesn't have a success story. The night before, we're from Georgia, a young man, Dylan Thomas. His journey turned differently, and we're praying for that family and the Pike County nation as well. So we're strong. I hope that that family is strong, and those that have the success stories, please continue to send them to us because that will encourage us. And then Christion, he'll be able to encourage someone else because he'll be a living testimony to this.
How about the game of football in general? I mean, as parents of ball players, my son had concussions. His mother was always concerned. How did you feel about football from when the boys were young and growing up and started to play the game?
I love sports. I never wavered on it. I was a team mom. I was welcome all parks, athletic president. Christion played basketball, baseball, soccer, football. So I never had a fear of anything. Several years ago, one of his friends was playing on a Friday night at Creekside High School. Instant hit. We were at the hospital when they delivered the bad news. But the game of football, accidents happen, but God is still in control.
Do you feel differently now?
I don't, because accidents are going to happen, but we still serve the same God.
And that hit, it wasn't, you know, we don't know when it exactly happened, but he had no real banger hit. You know, it was something that no one can see on film, you know, it's just something that happened. So, you know, football is still football. We love the sport, you know, but, you know, accidents does happen in football.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm good. Not great, but good.
You mentioned Dylan Thomas, and he only made it a day or two. That seems to be a key to 24 to 48 hours. Is that what the doctors have told you every day is a positive sign?
It didn't start positive, no. It didn't start positive, but every day we know it's critical because every day there's a different turn, and we're just expecting that, but we also know the grace of God is here. So every day, you know, we take it, we listen, we respect the doctors, we have the most trust in them. We are very proud of the service and the care that they're giving our son, but we're praying for them as well.
For Dr. Thompson, with respect for the family's privacy in this situation, can you share what it was that happened? We've heard emergency surgery. Where's the challenge at this point as he's moving forward?
Well, let me just say that it's actually a privilege to sit here with you and to hear you speak, you know, really both of you from your heart. As a parent myself, my heart goes out to you, and One of the things I just want to tell you is that you have helped the doctors and nurses here. You've inspired us with your courage and your strength, and that we draw energy from. And I just think it's important to say that. I think what happened here is a rare problem. We do not thankfully see this at all commonly. And the way I think about this is it's really important to articulate that when you watch a college football game or professional football game or any athletic event, many people just don't realize the level of care and medical sophistication that's there at the game, from our athletic trainers and their staffs and EMS and physicians on the sidelines. People are really passionate about taking care of athletes and in this setting, and many people are not aware of that. I think to me, that's the most important point to articulate today, that there were people, professionals, who practiced this day in, day out, drills, physicians on the sideline who took immediate care. They knew exactly what to do, and they got him immediately over to Vanderbilt, and right away we were able to provide him what we think is really the best care. I think it's a day-by-day situation, and again, I just want to tell you that you inspire us,
Well,
so
thank
thank
you.
you for that.
And just to feed off what he's saying, the time that they got my son here, or our son here, by the time we got here, Vandy Nation was here, TSU, we walked in, my son was almost ready to go into emergency surgery. So there was no time lapse. It was immediate. It was exactly what he said, emergency surgery. So there was no downtime, and I think that made a difference as well.
Can you just describe Christian's personality? What's he like?
Christion is pretty quiet, laid back. Once he gets to know you, he's a very fun, enjoyable young man. But I heard Coach Reid say this: if Christion was in the room, you would not know it. He has a smile that is just contagious, but just a joy, but laid back and quiet.
And you also said that you've seen some encouraging movements. Can you just describe what type of movements that he's made that have given you some hope?
Absolutely. He likes music. He likes gospel music also. Just this past Thursday, he sent me a text and he said, "Mom, I think you would like this song." And it was Close by Marvin Sapp. So I listened to it and I liked it. And so I asked one of his friends to download some music on the tablet for him. And we played the song. And he was listening to different music and he responded with raising his hand, trying to raise his hand. He loves music. He loves God. He loves Let It Rain by Bishop Paul Moore. And I kept playing it and kept playing it. And he would rub my nails as he heard different songs. So those are the positive signs that we're seeing.
And he also, a 20-year-old, he loved rap too.
Yeah, he does. And we didn't download any rap right now. We're going to save the rap for the party.
Dr. Thomas, can you talk about that, how encouraging that is to see that kind of
I think that we're taking it day by day. I want to emphasize that where he is in a very specialized intensive care unit. He is in a neurosurgical ICU, and Vanderbilt has a 34-bed ICU. We have the best nurses, I think, you could imagine. Everyone devoted to the care of patients with neurologic injuries. And so, what I can tell you is that we just take it one day at a time, and that's what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Without sharing more than you all are comfortable with, but you said this is really rare. I mean, what is it? Like, what's going on? What happened?
Well, I think in the context of his privacy, it's best not to speak to the specific nature, but I can speak to the fact that there are types of head injuries that we see, and it's rare for one to require an operation, for example. But thankfully, that's the case. We just do not see it, but we are fully prepared to treat patients when we do.
Just to be clear, have you actually conclusively determined that this is a result of something that happened on the field, or is it possible it's happened some other means?
I don't think it's really appropriate to speak to that. I understand the question. I think there's a lot of unknowns. There are a lot of unknowns here. And that's often the case in situations like this.
Could you categorize the surgery as successful as far as going in a positive direction?
His team mobilized extremely quickly. I can tell you that there was a neurosurgeon on the sidelines who actually figured out who was on call at Vanderbilt, called that surgeon who was on call, Dr. Weaver, my colleague and partner. Dr. Weaver was in his car on his way immediately, even before Christion had a CT scan. And I think that the team, both the anesthesia team and the surgical team did a beautiful job with him. They did exactly the right thing. And it's what I would want for my son.
You mentioned prayers. Anything else people watching can do for you?
Nothing but pray. Pray and trust God and trust this process.
Any further questions? As Dr. Thompson said, your faith, you said it's kind of inspirational. I think it is inspirational. Was there any moment when you're blaming, those initial moments when you're blaming somebody for what happened, blaming anything? Was there...
No blaming. No blaming. Even in this, we're still blessed. Our son is fighting. So we're not blaming. We're blessed.
You have such a strong group of family and friends in the university. That's got to help.
Oh, it's definitely helping. That's given us our strength. We've had people to come from everywhere. From his high school coaches, his little league coaches, players that he played with since he was 5, teachers.
Our bishop and...
Yes, we are, we're part of Changing a Generation with Bishop Paul S. Morton in Atlanta, and we're part of Full Gospel, which is Bishop Joseph Walker here. He was here before Christion got out of surgery. And we just have everybody wrapping their arms around us, alumni, everybody, people that we've never ever seen. I mean, we're thankful for it because people don't have to do this.
Former football players have been there.
Yes.
Coaches, Coach Mason with Vanderbilt, everybody has showed support. Coach Reid, of course, he's here every day. He beat me here.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's next? I mean, is there another surgery pending, or is there something else that's going to be coming up?
I think it's a day-by-day situation, and, we are taking it as such.
And I would just like to add that it's not just about football. All of the sports have reached out from various schools. All of the coaches, the players, the athletic directors, academic advisors. I even spoke to one academic advisor. She said, I'm Christion's academic advisor. I said, oh yeah, he told me that he wanted to drop that math class. Did you drop it? And she said, he came to see me on Friday, and I told him he wasn't going to get off that easy. I said, well, go ahead and drop it for him. But I've met some wonderful people, and we are just grateful. So if everyone could just please continue to pray for Christion, because he is really, really fighting, and we can't let him down and waver with our faith.
Dr. Thompson, is he still listed in critical condition?
Yes.
I don't know if others can speak. Coach, how's the team holding up? How are you handling dealing with this team?
It's tough, but, our kids are resilient. We try to update them as best possible without divulging, too much private information. But most of our kids know because, 8 to 10 of them are up here every day, visiting with the family. But we've had a couple of good practices. Defensively, AB was our guy out there on the field that made all the checks, and we depended on him to do a lot of things. So we were a little sloppy yesterday, and I told his dad that it may have been the worst defensive practice that we had all year. But I think those guys are going to come around. We've met a little bit, and they understand the gravity of what's going on, and we're going to continue to prepare for our game this week, and we're going to take them with us on the road.
And that is his nickname, AB. That's what they call him.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.